Even though Black Ops 4's launch is less than 2 weeks away and we're being bombarded with an awful hashtag COD Nation marketing campaign full of memes and shitposts, there's always Call of Duty World War II trying so desperately to grab at your attention with its newest event since it got the shaft of only having an 11th-month life cycle, here to discuss in the Call of Duty news. First, let's talk about the latest trailer for Black Ops 4, the launch trailer with the exceptionally cringy slogan, on October 12th, the world goes black, after the opening sequence of this white guy applying some very cheap blackface and the realization that there's barely 1 second of the 66-second trailer that features a black person in it. That's even worse than those award shows, for fuck's sake. Activision is so lazy, in fact, that the slogan screen is the only new thing in this trailer, which is a frankenfuck of cuts from other various trailers until near the end, with the splash screens of the 3 modes included in the game, along with scenes of 2 new multiplayer maps, one that looks like Contraband but with more forest, and another that's a Moroccan version of Seaside. There was, however, a video on Treyarch's Twitter detailing Morocco as a new map with the same creative naming as Black Ops 2's Yemen map, based on the statement in the Game Informer interviews with Von der Haar about the maps, quote,
"For the number of maps, I think you guys all know the maps we're gonna have plus Nuketown."
Does this mean that there are only 8 vanilla maps plus 4 remastered maps, making 12 multiplayer maps on launch, a third of which aren't even original to the fucking game, and then even more so when you consider that Nuketown is also a remaster that's coming in November? That's a less original maps than Call of Duty World War II launched with that had numerous complaints. The rest of the Game Informer interview was just 42.5 minutes of the coming soon black hole, or this is something that we're looking at without definitive directions, or we're just trying to get the game mode ready for launch and we'll do shit later, basically confirming that the beta is actually a demo since there are many ideas but not many implementations. The only comment that made me scratch my head was Von der Haar's explanation about why Treyarch decided to keep ammo a manual instead of auto pickup in Blackout mode. Quote,
"You don't take the ammo seriously as a resource, and the touches of working with teammates to ask for ammo is important instead of having it all."
The problem with this is that if ammo is actually a resource, treat it as one in the inventory instead of not counting your ammo against your inventory capacity. Secondly, I'm still always asking or dropping ammo to teammates, even in games like Fortnite and Radical Heights RIP, where ammo doesn't count against your inventory and you auto vacuum up ammo on the ground anyways. Right now, we're getting the worst of both worlds because you won't treat it as the important resource if there's no penalty for just gobbling up all the ammo indiscriminately, and it's an annoyance to push a button each fucking time to grab some until you reach the arbitrary maximum of said ammo to carry. If you really wanted to make it important, then make it fucking important. Rant aside, continuing with Blackout, Digital Foundry did a comparison between the platforms for the Blackout beta, demo, and found that the original VCR tops out at a paltry 900p with lows all the way down to 1024 by 768 in crowded areas, with the Scorpio getting 4K only very rarely, but at least 1800p in all scenarios at somewhere between 40 and 60 FPS. For the PS4, base model gets 1080p max, but the Pro gets at least 1440 by 1080. However, it will also hit 4K and the rare occurrences at a minimum 50 FPS. It's too bad that the PC beta was capped at 90 FPS, but that's still double what you get on most consoles, hashtag PC Master Race. Oh, and speaking of platform differences, since Activision is spelt with a $, there is again a PlayStation exclusivity stranglehold on post-launch content, but this time only by 7 days instead of 30, so this way you won't have only about 2 weeks to play the last DLC before launch of the new game if you're not on their preferred platform. More on that later. Even though Sledgehammer Games did a good job of keeping new content for all players at the same time, it doesn't seem like that will be the case in Black Ops 4, as the blog post alludes to not only new maps like Nuketown coming in November early for PS4, but also new specialists, the first of which is in December, and seasonal events will all be early if you're a Sony pony. It also talks about the Black Ops Pass, which is yet to still be priced, but shouldn't even be a thing for splitting up the player base across different maps. With both content early on the PS4 and seemingly not giving a shit about splitting up their fan base into haves and have-nots, it's no surprise that Activision has no plans for cross-platform play in Call of Duty, because then we'll be hearing complaints about PC users taking dookies on console plebs, and it also fucks up that exclusivity shit. It would also mean that the notion that they're peddling currently about PC getting different tweaks than console based on balance would really fuck with your mind, because players wouldn't even be playing the same version of the same game in the same lobby. So, about that DLC released only 2 weeks before another Call of Duty game launches? Yeah. So, Call of Duty World War II's 4th installment, Shadow War, is now available on the VCR and PC for anyone that actually bothers to buy that instant gratification bullshit on the forgotten platforms. However, for all platforms, there was a patch that was released yesterday that coincided with the Halloween Scream community event. Might as well reuse the Attack of the Undead event instead of doing any actual Halloween theme, with Horde Point and Relic of the Undead modes returning, as well as the HQ theme, now with 100% more pumpkins, because Sledgehammer Games are basic bitches and love their pumpkin thingies. This event also comes with a community challenge and various other beepity bops to play dress up with in an FPS, as well as new weapons, including the EMP-44 SMG, the no recoil NZ-41 automatic rifle, SDK 9mm silent snipers if we didn't already have a silent sniper that nobody will be able to get when the contracts don't drop for it, a crossbow that is a launcher item that's only a one-hit kill from waist up, so why the fuck just not use most sniper rifles instead, and of course a sledgehammer melee weapon in honor of Glenn Schofield. Hashtag the hammer. Also in the patch, other than some fixes on the VCR because computing power is more scarce on that console than a bad news YouTube channel, they fixed some out-of-map exploits on Egypt and parachuting with commandos for out-of-map and floating mid-air dog tags and kill confirmed. They also finally fixed some of the zombies Easter eggs since the game would constantly crash harder than Paul Walker while doing so, even though all of the survival maps were unlocked for DLC 3 owners for the Tortured Path with the event, hence removing a big incentive to actually do this Hokey Pokey Song and Dance Easter egg challenge. Lastly, in Call of Duty news, Modern Warfare 2 was made backwards compatible last week, thus putting the kibosh on most of the remastered rumors, and this is the last Call of Duty game that was made available for the 360 emulator inside of the Xbox One. With this news, the game actually shot up to the top 10 list at number 8 for weekly sales, thus proving my point that Activision should release DLC for older Call of Duty games for free in order to boost sales of their base game, since, let's be honest, who the fuck is buying a season pass for an 8-year-old game? Not to mention, with the specialist stories being nowhere near what an old Call of Duty campaign used to be, people that don't like multiplayer games will skip out on this one and have to get their fix somewhere, right? Anyways, that's gonna do it for the Call of Duty news of the week. I've been the Schwantz27 out like those Chicago Cubbies. Until next time.